Welcome back to the Movie A Day podcast, the one and only podcast that reviews a different film each and every day. My name is Grant, and I'm your host for this podcast. With me, as always, to dive into the world of cinema, we have Sky
Hello, everyone.
and Ryan.
Another day, another movie.
Ryan, what are we talking about today?
Grant, we are talking about a masterpiece. The movie The Edge of 17, directed by Kelly Freeman Craig, stars Haley Steinfeld, Haley Lou Richardson, Woody Harrelson. And so this film takes you through the life of a high schooler who is in her junior year, I believe. She's 17 years old, hence the name of the film. She's kind of going through some different situations than typical people go through. Her best friend, it says it on the IMDb page, so I'm allowed to say this. So her best friend Nadine's the main character, but her best friend Krista, starts dating her older brother, and it causes a whole lot of conflicts in her life because she begins to lose her best friend. So, essentially it's about her life of Nadine going through a bunch of struggles. So, what did you guys think about The Edge of 17? Sky, I already know you watched it, but what did you think the second time around?
Well, I would say that this movie is not a masterpiece, but I guess to be more specific, I guess this movie is like, it kind of makes me, I guess, conflicted. Like, I don't know what the actual movie was trying to make you feel towards the main character. It's filmed, I guess, fine. There's nothing spectacular, but I can't remember any shots that were like horrible. But for me, like, this and like motivations for characters were pretty bad. The acting was fine. Again, it wasn't like horrible, but it definitely wasn't good. But yeah, not a movie for me, that's for sure. So when you recommended this, a little part of me died inside. But with Grant, what about you?
I think a bigger part of me died when you recommended Velvet Buzzsaw. But,
That's fair.
Yeah.
This isn't that bad.
Anyway, I think inevitably this is going to be compared by all of us to Eighth Grade, which is a superior film in almost every way. And I think you can really just break it down in terms of the authenticity. Eighth Grade, everything looked and felt authentic, whereas in this movie, almost nothing does. Haley Steinfeld does a pretty good job. She gives a pretty good performance. But all the people in this high school look like they're 30. All the problems that the main character goes through are very unrelatable. And all the other characters, too, almost are pretty unrelatable. Woody Harrelson is pretty solid in the film, but he's very underutilized. And I think I'm just going to save it for spoilers for when I go into this movie. But I don't think I can recommend it.
Well, I do agree with a lot of what you guys said in terms of like relatability and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely not relatable. I did feel like after going from watching Eighth Grade and then shortly after watching this, I can tell that this movie is definitely more forced, whereas Eighth Grade was more natural. And you could tell like the acting in this movie was like Grant said, they're 30-year-olds, right? So they're 30-year-old actors trying to portray like a high schooler, whereas in Eighth Grade they're a lot more authentic and they're a lot like they're in that age group, so they kind of know how that age group acts. And that was kind of the turnoff for me right out of the gate, honestly, because like you could tell like some of the dialogue was like going in that direction, and that's where I started to think, oh boy, we're in for a ride. But I was kind of hoping the movie would have some redeeming qualities, and I mean there were some parts that I liked in it, but yeah, I mean I really can't recommend it, but I mean you know it's definitely not like a Velvet Buzzsaw flop if you decide to check it out. I'm sorry, Sky, I brought it up again, but
No, hey, at least none of you had to watch Velvet Buzzsaw twice. Like, I had to watch it. But still, yeah, Velvet Buzzsaw is definitely the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's free on Amazon, or not Amazon. That's free on Netflix right now, so you guys could check out The Edge of 17 if you choose. But I think it's time for spoiler talk, boys. If you guys are ready.
Full spoiler talk for 11th grade.
Yeah. Well, see, this is where I think, like, I don't think this movie was going for eighth grade was going for that real, like, drama with some kind of, like, you would laugh at, like, the cringe of it because you're like, oh my gosh, like, I've been through things like that. Whereas this, I think they were trying to make you laugh with, like, how crazy and cartoony the character was. And that's what I was talking about, like, in my initial thoughts for this. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to feel bad for her, which, like, I think you are, like, supposed to do, but, like, they don't do that. Like, I literally, like, makes you hate the main character. You're just like, this girl just whines and complains, and they don't really play up that it was, like, the dad that made her this way. Even, like, she was like this before the dad was there, so, like, it's not even like you can be like, oh, like, her dad died and she's taking it horribly. Like, she was like this beforehand, so, like, you can't, like, relate to her in any way for feeling bad. And then, as Grant, you were saying, like, all the other characters can't relate to. Like, you have, like, the weird... He's, like, the perfect brother, except to her. And, like, they just don't get along for some reason, even though, like, he's always been the mom out.
He almost is the perfect brother to her as well, and she just, like, is just...
Well, he does, like, sleep with her best friend, which is, like... I feel like that's kind of weird. But, yeah, no, I agree. Like... They definitely make him seem like, again, right? They make her seem like the bad guy, but you're supposed to feel sorry for her. But she's definitely, like, creating all of the problems. So, yeah. And Woody Harrelson, like, his things were funny, his, like, lines, but, like, he was super one note. He was literally just there to be, like, the funny teacher who would be 100% fired for, like, unethical behavior constantly in this movie. So that's why, like, it felt like a cartoony Marvel like ish version of, like, high school. And, like, I don't know, like, it doesn't, like, that just whole concept did not work for me at all. And again, maybe some of it was due to the 8th grade, but I watched this before 8th grade, and, like, if anything, like, my rating went down after watching this the second time. But and it wasn't high to begin with, but yeah, I don't know what
yeah, watching this movie really makes me appreciate 8th grade.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, 8th grade definitely. I mean, they did take different approaches, like, toward it, analyzing, like, an adolescent's life. But definitely 8th grade did it in the best way possible.
Well, yeah, like, that's why, like, if you're trying to make a character relate, you have to, like, ground it in some reality. Whereas, like, this girl, super rich, her, like, one of the love interests of her, like, has parents that are in, like, South Korea for 3 months, and his family is, like, loaded beyond belief. They all have, like, these huge pools in their back. Like, there's nothing really relatable. Like, they're just, like, kind of like rich people problems. Yeah, I don't know. So, like, that part already kind of, like, it's like, oh, okay. It's like hard to relate to, essentially. Yeah. You can't, like, really relate to, like, a rich, whiny person complaining. I know, like, everything's relative, but, like, still, you gotta have some grounding.
The movie actually did have a chance to end on a pretty solid note and have our main character actually learn something, but then it kind of just cops out and just ends all happy with a upbeat pop song in the credits.
Oh yeah, and the songs in this were horrible. They had so many of those. There's horrible pop songs throughout this movie.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, because, like, she didn't really learn a lesson. That's another, like, huge complaint. Like, her brother comes over to the teacher's house, who she's staying, like, with for that night, unless someone picks her up, which is, again, just so unethical. But he goes to pick her up, and he's like, "Fine, find your own way home." Gives this whole speech about how he cares about her, but, like, she's, like, doesn't understand it. And then she, like, comes home and she's like, "You know what? I'm fine with everything." And it's like, okay, just from, like, that one. Yeah, I don't know. there wasn't any, I don't know, any repercussions to her actions really. Like she was just mean the whole movie, and now she's just gonna send her mom a text saying I'm safe, and now their relationship is fine. And she's like, okay.
Yeah,
They're
after she steals her mom's car and trashes the house and leaves without telling her or anyone else where she's going.
Yeah, and there's literally like no consequences to that. Like yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm. And like after like her brother and her got into it, and then like into like a fight, and then after like she got home and then like knocked on the brother's door, and then like she was like crying, and like basically just everything came out, you know, that she had bottled up inside. And then they like hugged it out, you know, and then like the next morning, like everything was just
Oh yeah,
you know,
that was so funny.
just
They're all just
picture
happy.
perfect. Everything was just happy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what happened? Did we time jump, or like is this the next? I'm pretty sure it was the next day. Like it had to have been the next day. And
Well, and her friend never made up anything
No.
or anything either. Like she's just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, can I call you later?" And she's like, "Yeah." And
Her
they're like,
best
"Oh my
friend
god,
for,
like we're
like-
friends."
However
yeah,
many
like we're
years
best
it
friends
was.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them making up is her telling her to have a nice day.
Yeah, like it's so like strange. Like I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
was super
And this
bizarre. But
this
I mean,
movie
she's a
has-
strange character though to begin with. But yeah,
yeah, and this movie has like a 77 Metascore. Like, this movie has like a high critical like review. Like I don't understand like how the
those people must
Yeah, I
not have
don't
seen
really-
eighth grade.
well, eighth grade has like a really high one. It has higher than that.
Yeah,
Thank
it
God.
does, yeah.
But I'm just like this to me seems just like generic, just like
Yeah, very
I
safe.
guess teen movie. Yeah. I don't
really
even know.
take any risks.
No. Yeah, not at all. Like you said, it would have been cool if like at the end everyone like hated her and she was alone and she was like, you know what, like I got to work on myself or something. Like that's how the movie ends, type of thing.
Mhm.
But it didn't.
Yeah, she kind of
Everyone.
tries to make the effort with her friend and her brother, like a little bit. And it's not reconciled completely, but like he's like on the way.
Yeah, and like the Asian love interest guy was like super cartoony. He's like super nervous guy, but he looks like, I mean, like you see him with the shirt off, he's like built, but yet he's like super nerdy and like into weird stuff. He doesn't know how to talk to girls, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
like
it's
how does a guy
guess.
like that like?
the perfect like
Well-
stereotypical love interest of these like
Yeah, it's
teen-
like the two attractive people
movies.
think they're unattractive and no one likes them, and then they get together. It's like both these people look attractive. Like Haley Steinfeld obviously looks attractive. Like it's just, again, like hard to relate to. Or it's like eighth grade, actually, like the girl has acne, right? Like you're going through like actual issues. Although I guess this movie did have one scene with her with like short hair and acne. But that was
Yeah.
it. That's like the only
Yeah.
scene you could have.
and that
I
was
guess,
when
be
she was
relatable.
what, like 13.
Yeah, it wasn't even in, high school. It was younger than that. So.
Yeah, it was like a tenth of the opening monologue of the movie.
And then the cartoon, like Spider-Man villain, the guy who I can't remember his name, the guy who she's like trying to sleep with throughout the whole movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
And she
yeah, the one
sends
she had a
the-
big crush on, and she like accidentally sent the message to.
So are we gonna talk about that scene, the car scene?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, I really don't like this movie. So, let me see. What was his name? Nick? I think his name was Nick.
yeah, his
Yeah.
name was Nick.
Yeah. So essentially, I guess I'll sum it up for everybody. Like, she likes this guy Nick. He's like an emo goth dude who looks like literally like a Spider-Man villain, or like Lex Luthor. He just looks like evil. But again, you don't really know anything about him. He just like says like kind of creepy one-liners to be like the cool.
And he's got a
recluse.
bunch of like headshot photos of him on his like Facebook.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
of his
that's
profile
amazing.
pictures are like professionally studio done, and it's great.
Yeah. Oh my god. And like essentially, she like accidentally sends him a message, and then he responds. He's like, "Oh, cool." And the message was like essentially very sexual. She wanted to like do all these things, right? And so normally, like I feel like anyone who would get a message like that would be like, "Okay, like someone took your phone." Or like it got hacked and sent me this, and like you wouldn't respond. Like any normal person would not respond, but this dude's like, oh, like this is a completely serious message, and so he responds. He's like, we should hang out tonight, and she's like, oh my god, yay! And then they hang out, and then like obviously like they're making her seem like the nervous girl who doesn't know what she wants. So then there's like the whole like awkward scene in the car where like the guy's trying to like, sleep with her essentially, and she's like, well, I don't want to. Her message was all about that. And like, again, obviously you can like change your mind. We're not gonna get into that whole thing.
Yeah, and it's
But like
the one-
she like the movie blames the guy for being confused, or like it seems like it's trying to make you feel bad for her by blaming the guy, and the guy's like, whoa, I thought you just wanted like a one night stand fling. I don't want a relationship. Like I'm graduating,
yeah,
and like the
maybe,
movie makes you hate him.
the first
The
time
movie makes you hate
they
him.
go for it. The first time
It's
they
true.
go at it a little bit, like, okay, it's like kind of ambiguous whose fault it is. It's whatever. But then they start going at it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she starts kissing him again.
Yeah, she's like,
And he's
"No,
like, "What the
stay."
hell?
And then finally, like, it just like,
Then
yeah,
she,
get
like-
the hell out of the car.
Yeah,
It's
she like tells him like, "I hope you die," and something. It's
Yeah, and then she goes and cries, which
Well,
like
that's
again, like that
because-
can be.
That's
you
she
go.
said that because like he made the remark that she's like, he's like, "Oh, my friends were right about you," like so that essentially that just tells her that she's being talked behind her back by like other people at school, and they're probably saying some mean stuff, and like that just kind of like set her off, I think.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was more
that's
just.
why, no, because like yeah, he made the comment and, like that's what got her in a fluster,
Okay.
and she stormed out of the car.
Yeah, just like again, like I don't know what am I supposed to like. I'm watching this. I'm like, normally I should feel a girl, but this whole thing was not set up in a way I should, and maybe I wasn't. Like I don't know. Like if I was
I think
supposed
the
to, or-
reason why you don't, and it's the same reason I don't, is because I don't really like the personality of the character. I mean, she's just she deserves it, like the way she acts. So like you can't really feel bad for someone that like deserves, like
Yeah.
like she deserves the consequences of her actions.
yeah, she got herself into that situation, and like again, comparing it to 8th grade, like she was just getting a ride home from like a friend of a friend, like, and she didn't get herself into that situation.
no,
and, like-
exactly. Yeah,
And
it's like
after,
grounded
the
in
first
some
time, the
reality.
initial confusion, she's right away just like, no, I don't want this, and like it's done.
Yeah.
It's like didn't take it too far, didn't go all ridiculous with it, as opposed to Edge of 17.
Yeah, it just again, it comes off almost like comical, like artificial. I guess is the best way. It's like
Yeah, it's unauthentic.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just like whoa, like they definitely just like needed this scene. They needed a scene, and they were trying to be like I don't like somewhat different. I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
like they needed a low point of the script, and like it was really forceful.
Yeah, like that's what I was trying to say. Is like it just does. It feels forced. Like the entire movie just felt forced, like right up in your face. Like, oh, here's what's happening. Like, feel bad for her, and then all of a sudden, like, it starts to get better for her in the end. Don't worry. But
Yeah, I was definitely expecting. Well, I guess I wasn't expecting, but I was hoping.
I was
for the
expecting
guy
a
to say
happy
it
ending. I
wasn't
knew it
about
was gonna
you.
be a happy ending, just because like, it's how these movies go usually.
Yeah.
But, so
Any other final thoughts for anyone?
I guess I would just add Haley Lou Richardson was kind of like wasted in this. Now seeing her
Yeah.
in that, should we disclose that movie or not yet?
The movie where she's not underutilized and
Yeah.
it's one of the best performances of the year. We can save that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll save that. Yeah,
Save
but
it.
yeah, so like seeing her in that, I was like, oh, okay. And then she'll be in this, and then like they literally just made her be like the like hot friend who has like a quarrel with the main character, and like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was kind of, I guess.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
wasn't in
Well, I
it
guess technically
a lot.
this came out first though, so maybe like this got her that other role. I can't be sure, but
Yeah, because the movie that you and I were thinking of came out in
2018, right?
2017.
Oh,
That movie
2017.
came out, and
Yeah,
that
okay.
this movie came out in 2016.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't try anything really new.
Yeah, nothing really groundbreaking or.
The
original.
only new thing I can think of, which I'm sure actually isn't really new, I'm sure teachers have been like this before, but like the teacher who's like to the point of again, unethical, but like it's funny. It's like the comedy. I mean, I guess Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl had a teacher, but he wasn't like that comical. Like he was grounded in some reality.
Yeah.
But like this guy, like no.
Yeah.
It
He
was
was-
literally just like, I'm gonna commit suicide, and he's just like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it.
Like any teacher would say that would be like fired immediately. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh yeah.
He's
And again, it's funny because of how unbelievable it is. And that's what, like, I don't know if that's what the movie's going for.
But
Yeah, did not work for me.
should we get into our ratings?
yeah. I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm at a 3 out of 10. Granted, this is my second time watching it. So it was at a 4. I had to move it down though.
Okay.
I am actually also at a 4 out of 10. So
All right.
seems like we're all in the same ballpark on this film.
Yeah, do not recommend.
Yeah.
I mean-
Unfortunately not.
Yeah, don't see it unless you absolutely have to. Like if it's like me, and I had it on my list and I just wanted to get it off because it was on Netflix, But even then, don't watch it. Okay.
Well, I would say people would get, like, there are some people who would get entertainment out of this.
Oh yeah,
though,
for sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas like Velvet Buzzsaw,
Yeah.
like I don't think anyone could get entertainment out of that movie. But this one, there is
Yeah,
like
if you're
something.
a fan of this genre, like
Yeah.
apparently a lot of people relate to this character and a lot of people connect to this movie, but I personally don't see it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
But
I don't
a lot of
either.
other people do. So if you're a fan of this genre, then in that sense, I think you can check it out and get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my movie for tomorrow is This Time for Real Brazil.
This time
We'll
for
see.
real.
we'll see.
Brazil. So
Yeah, if you like this podcast, make sure to leave a comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a like on Facebook and a follow on Twitter. And leave us some suggestions too in those comments, and we might pick one of your movies. But other than that, see you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
see you later.